What's good, guys? It's Buster, and today I'm going to be showing you how to warm up efficiently and quickly so that you can get into your ranked games much faster. I've been hearing different high elo players and coaches talking about warm-up routines that can take upwards of an hour, and the truth is, not everyone has the time of day to do that if you aren't already in the top percentage of players and you're looking to make a career out of playing full-time. So let me show you guys how to warm up effectively in a shorter amount of time, and this is going to be the warm up that I use most of the time. And this warm up will focus on three major things. The first area will be small adjustments, the second larger adjustments, and the third area will be movement. In my mind, these are the three most important areas to focus your warm up around so that you're playing at your best for the day. So with that being said, let's get into how I focus on each of these. Let's start with smaller adjustments, or also known as micro adjustments. All you're going to do for this exercise is turn on the practice bots, and you're going to stand pretty much in the center of the range and just go switching from target to target with Jet Knives or the Guardian. Make sure you're doing this slowly enough where you're hitting 100% of your shots or very close to it. That's going to be the best speed to be starting at, and then you can gradually ramp it up as long as your accuracy isn't suffering. I would say the best place to live is on the threshold of where your accuracy is the highest and your speed is as fast as you can go without sacrificing any accuracy. That's generally the threshold you're going to want to be living on so that you're always appropriately challenging yourself and so that you can get faster over time. You can switch this up by giving yourself different elevations to work with. So I might go over to this point at the range. You can go over here on the stairs and it's the same thing. Or you can updraft to this higher rafter up here and give yourself another point of view. And this is really going to help you focus on hitting the head and isolating what that looks like from the target, from the rest of its body. This is really going to help your smaller adjustments and your micro flicks because you want to be using your wrist to flick to the target to get as quickly from one target to the other as you can, and then use your fingertips to make the final adjustment. So typically for targets that are outside of my micro adjustment range, which is about this big, I'll try to flick to the target with my wrist, and typically the wrist flick is going to be a bit inaccurate, so you're going to want to make sure that you correct it with your fingertips. Your fingertips are the most mobile joint on your hand, and not using your fingertips when aiming is going to bottleneck your actual potential. So notice how whenever I flick to a target, I'm always adjusting before I shoot and making sure that the crosshair is on the head. Do this at different elevations and different spots around the range to get your smaller adjustments and micro adjustments to feel as comfortable as they can. Now we're going to focus on larger adjustments. So for this, I recommend pressing F3 and turning on easy bots. And then when we start the exercise, we're going to do this from 3 different points. I like to do this with Jet Knives or the Guardian once again. So I'm going to start the exercise and then I'm going to face 90 degrees to my left. And whenever I hear a target spawn, I'm going to flick with my arm and then micro adjust with my wrist and fingertips to the target. So it'll look like this. Then you're going to want to do the same thing facing backwards, so 180 degrees away. And I actually like to do 15 of these targets by flicking to the right, and then I like to also do 15 of them by flicking to the left. When I'm doing a 180 degree flick, I'm trying to move my arm as fast as I can to where I think the target is. That way I have more time to micro adjust and be more accurate with my shot. So that looks something like this. So I had a lot of time to recognize the target and make sure my crosshair is on the right place before shooting. And then finally, you would want to do the same thing from facing the right and then flicking to the left. After you've worked on small and large adjustments, you want to work on your movement, and I also like to incorporate tracking with this, and make sure that you use both the Phantom and the Vandal when doing this next section. So I like to turn the practice mods on like so, and I'll go to one side of the range, and what I'm going to be doing is taking at least 2 steps with my character. So you're going to want to actually hear your character make 2 footsteps, and while you do this, have your crosshair on a target and try to track that target as best you can. You'll take a large strafe, and then you will shoot the target with a burst fire of bullets, and then you'll swap to the next target and move the opposite direction. So it'll look like this. You want to make sure that you also do this with the Vandal. Notice how I'm always choosing the target before I change direction. So I shoot, choose the target, then I strafe, shoot again, choose the next target before I move. Another way that you can work on your movement and your tracking is going to eliminate 50 or eliminate 100, and starting the exercise, going in the middle of the range and only using A and D, tracking these targets now as they appear. And this will work on having targets appear at different distances, and this essentially combines all of the exercises we just did together in one. We're working on large adjustments, small adjustments. This is a good one and all exercise that you can round out the warm-up with. The reason it's important to burst fire in the scenarios with the Phantom and the Vandal is because there are times where you won't kill your target by one shot to the head. Sometimes you'll hit 140 or 124 with the Phantom if you're far enough. Or you might hit a wallbang shot with the Vandal. You always want to be burst firing so that you give yourself another chance to hit the head and to kill your opponent. Overall, this is what I do for my warm-up every day before I hop into ranked. I'll usually do 1 or 2 death matches as well, trying to focus on some of the same things, burst firing, making sure that I'm taking a large enough strafe so that I'm peeking someone fast enough, and making sure I go through and use all the guns that I usually use in the game. So the Ghost, the Phantom, the Vandal, all really important to make sure you get in a good warm-up with those weapons. All in all, this warm-up takes about 10 to 20 minutes depending on how much time you want to spend with each thing. I don't think you should warm up for longer than that, because too long of a warm-up can actually start to drain your potential for the day, and you might actually start feeling tired sooner if you want to do a longer stretch of games. For me personally, a shorter and concise warm-up focusing on specific things and how to get better at them is overall going to be better for your growth if you don't have a lot of time to play as many games as a higher ranked or professional player might be able to. Make sure when starting out, and especially if you're newer to working on these specific things, that you're focusing on going for accuracy over speed. The better that you get at doing these exercises while staying super accurate, it's going to be way more efficient and better for the long term when you start to speed it up and you start to challenge yourself more appropriately. Trying to do these exercises too fast, too early on, is going to affect how quickly you're able to actually ingrain these fundamentals, and it may or may not stunt your mechanical growth overall. I hope this video was helpful, and subscribe if you're new. If you can leave a like, it helps me out a lot since I'm just starting to make more content. And leave a comment if you want to talk about any warm-ups that have helped you or how your progress has been with these warm-ups. That's going to be it for this video, guys. Take care and peace.